Today I effed up by almost ruining a Halloween party in the worst way possible. But I was only 7. Am I the a-hole?
7-year-olds can sin and go to hell.
Just hit that cutoff.
According to the Catholic Church, you're done for.
Damn, sorry. Pope Francis laying down the hammer. This happened about 9 or 10 years ago when I was 7 years old. There were about 30 other guests at the party, all within a similar age range to myself. I knew the hostess very well as we had gone to school with each other for roughly 3 years. Now, I wouldn't often get myself into trouble, especially when I was 7. But when I did, let me tell you, it wasn't usually anything to bring concern to. The party was held at the girls' house, which was massive with a huge backyard and upwards of 3 stories. The best part about the house was the massive basement/home theater they had. Dude.
Oh, they're daddy warbucks over here.
Home theater for 7-year-olds? You are living. This was also where the party was being held, in the home theater/basement. Downstairs, the kids were running around in their Halloween costumes, playing tag or watching movies, while upstairs, the parents were making themselves comfortable. Loud music and flashy Halloween decorations littered the place. Strobe lights, cheap Halloween-themed animatronics, bowls of hard candy scattered the basement.
Yeah, this is beautiful. This sounds super fun. I'm into this party.
Roughly 90 minutes into the party, after having watched the Charlie Brown Halloween special, classic, and after playing Wii with my friends, another classic, I decided to go to the bathroom. The bathroom was just outside the theater. Now, on my way to the bathroom, there was a witch's cauldron, which was essentially one huge bowl of dry ice and fog machines. Most people should know what I'm talking about here, but essentially the dry ice and fog machines inside the massive cauldron produce this crazy amount of vapor wafting through the whole basement, like big spooky vibes, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It's like spooky fog in a graveyard.
Next to the cauldron, there were various bottles used to present different portions of ingredients and mixtures. Most of these bottles were fake or empty, but one bottle in particular was completely filled and open. That bottle was hot sauce. I quickly went to the restroom before returning to the fog machines. There's only one thing to do. I wanted to make a potion.
Sounds so sick. Sounds amazing.
I mean, I would want to do the same thing.
Yeah,
I get it. I took the bottle of hot sauce, removed the cap, and poured all of what might have been 10 to 12 ounces of hot sauce into the dry ice and into the fog machines. The fog machines?
The man is on a mission to just destroy.
After doing that, I lost focus and went to find a drink upstairs. While upstairs, my mom asked me how the party was, just to check in on me. Our conversation was interrupted when all 30 plus guests rushed out of the basement, squeezing their eyes shut, faces red, some crying and coughing so hard it was difficult for them to remain standing.
Oh my God. He literally buster-gasted.
The parents took notice immediately and rushed aid to their children. The parents of the host ran down the stairs and almost instantly discovered the problem. The smoke was so painful that it was almost impossible to even approach the cauldron, and thus all the power had to be shut off in order to stop the smoke. I felt so guilty about the situation that I immediately confessed it was my fault.
He was just trying to make a potion.
I just wanted to be the potion master. The host parents were too angry to even respond. And as a result, everyone was sent home crying and upset, and it was entirely my fault. Despite going to school with this girl for the following 6 years, I was never invited to her parties again.
I mean, I can understand. You literally committed a war crime at a party. You mustard gassed children.
That's
you were a child yourself, but it doesn't just because you're a child soldier doesn't mean you're absolved of your child soldier sins. I just watched Blood Diamond, and it has child soldiers in it. Dude, fucked up.
Heavy watch.
I'm
watch.
Sure. Yeah, heavy watch. So I don't condone child soldiers.
Wow. Dude, taking a stand?
Taking a stand.
Salute, sir.
Yeah. I
we
feel
are proud
bad
of
for
you.
them, though. They're like...
Wait. Are we talking about OP or talking about... I obviously feel bad.
I also feel bad for child soldiers.
Right. Yes, but OP. Yes.
Yeah, I feel bad for OP too.
To set the record straight. Yes.
Yeah, I feel bad for both. I feel equally bad for child soldiers and OP.
Yes. But Yes, on OP. He didn't intend to do anything wrong.
OP literally attacked 30 children and possibly made that entire home theater smell like hot sauce forever.
Weeks, forever.
You can't like
vapor,
and that's like low to the ground. Like you can't get that smell out. It could be it could be in the basement with like little ventilation. You're fucked, dude. That shit's smelling like hot sauce forever.
Sam, I need you back in the hot seat to read me this next story.
I would be glad to.
Let's do it.
Okay,
OP.
I dressed up as a handicap sign for Halloween and it's making people mad. Am I the asshole? Question: is it bad for someone who is not handicapped to dress up as handicap man from the handicap sign? Put your answers in the comments right now. Okay, so before you freak out, I am in a manual wheelchair.
Boom.
Okay, that's a point towards OP. I was paralyzed from the waist down when I was 4. So to my memory, I've been this way my entire life. With my parenting, I learned how to be grateful, independent, how to adapt, and my disability doesn't hold me back from anything.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, besides
music to my ears.
Walking, but I was taught that everything in life happens for a reason, and being paralyzed honestly just made me stronger physically and mentally than I would have been. I make jokes all the time about my wheelchair because it's who I am, it's funny, and there's no use in being sad or depressed about not being able to walk, which is pretty sick. This is like anti-victim mindset. Yeah. I used a large cardboard square, painted it blue on both sides. I used white tape to make the symbol on one side and then used battery-powered lights to outline the symbol. Then I dressed in all white to be the other side. But I recently told my best friend about it, and he told me it was rude and I shouldn't have done that. He says that not everyone understands life with a disability and that this is why stereotypes are often placed on me. He says I need to be more understanding of their perspectives and that it wasn't right to me to make others feel uncomfortable like that. Thoughts?
I got one giant question that I'm sure is on every single person's mind. Is the friend disabled?
Yeah. If the friend can walk, walk on the fuck out of here. Up. So with OP, here's some edits. He and the friend are very close. We both consider each other as our best friend. He says things need to change in society to make disabled individuals more equal. But he was saying it like, yes, the world isn't fair, but going and making people uncomfortable like this won't do anything and is worthless and rude. And here is a picture. Oh, this is when OP was younger, but Lightning McQueen in the car.
Oh my God, adorable.
I feel like OP is totally fine to dress up as the handicap man.
You can't force him to change his view or what he does with his disability.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, do you think OP is in the wrong here, dressing up as the handicap man? So let us know in the comments. And if someone who isn't disabled dressed up as the handicap man do you think that's wrong?
So
I want to know what everyone else thinks. Put your answers in the comments. But John, what are your thoughts?
Let us know. I think costume is fire. I love it. Hilarious. If you're not, I definitely personally would not do that. I
probably wouldn't either. I feel like you would get a little flamed.
Yeah, it's like, again, it's like, if you are going through that experience, you're like, yo, this is how I am choosing to view my own experience. That's when it's like, boom.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Like you should have the right to do with your experience what you did. Also, we never found out if the other friend is also.
I don't think so.
Dang. But yeah, I think OP totally fine. If someone is not disabled, I would say definitely not. Just like why, because then
it makes it feel like you're making more fun of.
Yeah. Like it's
how about Professor X though? And you're in a wheelchair. You're in a wheelchair wheeling around and you're Professor X.
I feel like Professor X is okay because you're more like, it's more about who the person is rather than the focus on the disability, where if you're literally the handicap sign, it's like literally just It's a literal sign and like poster of the disability. But Professor X, like he's just a character that happens to be in a wheelchair.
Disabled.
So I feel like Professor X, you're straight. And also like if someone's seeing you in, and maybe the person who's not disabled gets in the wheelchair for the handicap thing, but like if you're not disabled and you or if you don't need a wheelchair and you use it for Professor X, that's one thing, versus like if you have a costume but you're like, I don't know, walking around and just have like a big cardboard thing of it, then it's like you know,
if you're walking around and have a big cardboard thing, it's worse.
Because it's like okay, you're obviously don't need a wheelchair, because if you're just a walking thing of it, like let's say you just had like the sign like hanging on your neck or something like that, like I don't know how you would do it without the wheelchair.
So
but
you're
like,
saying you have to do, if you're going to dress up as Professor X, you have to use a wheelchair regardless of whether you need it or not.
I don't think you have to, but that it's not obvious that like if you're in the wheelchair, it's not apparent to someone, and someone shouldn't assume that you do or do not need to use the wheelchair.
Right.
Versus if you're just like wearing the sign, if that's how a person who didn't need a wheelchair was wearing the like handicap sign costume, well, then you're walking. And so it's like, well, bro, you're not about that life. You're not a part of that community. You're not using a wheelchair. So yeah. Long-winded way of saying Professor X, let's do it, and then
you have to roll how Professor X rolls.
I think it's good. It's part of the character, in my opinion, and it's part of the character, and it's not like presenting and trying to push the focus on his disability. You're simply dressing up as the character.
Let us know what you think. Put your answers in the comments below, and I think we're gonna get into this next story.
Let's do it.
Okay,
OP. I ruined Halloween for thousands of kids, but I don't care. I have a good reason. Am I the a-hole?
Thousands? That's so many. How?
Thousands of children wept with their candy wrappers on the ground. I live in a large neighborhood, about 90 houses. We're what's considered the rich neighborhood. Oh my.
Oh, Billy.
Jeeves, can you fetch the finest candy corn that money can buy? Oh man. So our neighborhood has always been a hot spot for trick-or-treaters. Yeah. We used to get about 700 to 1,000 kids a year. I've always loved getting trick-or-treaters because my kids are teens now and don't trick-or-treat anymore. But in the last 4 years, it's gotten ridiculous. There's now thousands and thousands of kids and their parents flooding the streets. People with hay in their rigs carrying kids around. Whoa! Hay rides through the streets. Wow. Trampling yards, littering candy wrappers everywhere, and the amount of small children walking around by themselves is appalling. People from the neighboring town of 30,000 people take their kids to my neighborhood. I was annoyed, but I never really did anything about it until 2 years ago. My daughter tripped and broke her arm. Oh, that's awful. We didn't think it was a break, but we wanted to get her to the ER anyway to go get it checked out. And there were so many people in our neighborhood, we couldn't get out. There were cars everywhere, lining the streets, parked in people's yards. It was horrible. We had to wait until everyone left, about 1 a.m. to get to the hospital. My daughter had to wait in pain for hours. At that point, I was done. I contacted the neighborhood community, and we managed to get some folks, cops mostly, to stand at the gate with a list and only let in certain people, folks that live there, family members, friends, etc. If you wanted to get in, you had to be close to someone in the neighborhood. It was great. There were only about 300 kids in the neighborhood, and there was barely any trash. And we're doing it again this year. I recently told my sister what I have done, and she got really angry. When we were kids, we had to trick or treat in other neighborhoods because we lived in a trailer park with no other kids. She told me I was a horrible person for ruining thousands of kids' Halloween.
It was literally thousands of kids.
It literally was. But honestly, I'm not too broken up about it. It was a hazard. If there was a fire or an emergency, no one would be able to get out and get help, which is true, which literally happened.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, there was never any cars lining the streets. The residences could get out if they wanted to. It was never dangerous. I don't think I'm in the wrong, but I've always respected my sister's opinion. So am I the a-hole? And there's some additional info. There was no one in the cars. They were parked in the middle of the road and in yards. So there was no way for me or an ambulance to get through unless every driver in the neighborhood at the same time went to their cars and drove out. My daughter was 13 and in that awkward phase where she didn't want to bother anyone for help and said it didn't hurt that bad.
Well, so like, first off.
Yep.
I feel like most 13-year-olds that I know that if they broke their legs would be screaming their heads off.
Dude, I would be
a little shit.
Oh my God.
I would be a little monster.
Yeah.
But second, I actually think there's like a medium or like, I feel like OP maybe took a step too far, blocking everyone out. There's like a intermediary step that could have been taken where it's just like, tell the police officers to not let anyone park where they shouldn't be parking. Let all the kids come. It doesn't seem like the kids were the issue. It seems like it was the parked cars that were the issue. And so let the kids keep coming and then just get rid of the parked cars.
Yeah, I would at least say like try that for the next year. And then if it's still like, and I guess OP was also saying like it would just trash the neighborhood. So there's other like side effects that wouldn't solve. But like that would be the win-win scenario where it's like, hey, if there's an emergency, like a paramedic like ringing their lights in the street, they'll get through if it's just people. But obviously if it's rows of parked cars fully blocking the street,
then you can't.
It's not gonna happen.
So it feels like the parked cars were the issue. So like solve, I think solve that, but I mean it's OP's neighborhood, so it's like
it's my turf, bro.
It's OP's
I'm laying
turf.
down the law.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily think OP is an asshole for kicking out thousands of kids.
I think because of the safety concern, OP is not an a-hole.
Yes, and literally was affected by the safety concern.
Yes, and literally was like, yes, it does have this horrible side effect of like killing the happiness of all these thousands of children. But at the end of the day, you know, it's if a worse emergency were to happen, imagine if someone was like about to die, having a heart attack. You need to have that. So I think OP not the a-hole, but let us know in the comments. Maybe we're off our rockers.
In the comments what you would do if this was your neighborhood.
Let us know. We'll see you next time.
See you soon.
And also, if you have your own stories, you could submit it to r/OKOP show, our subreddit. And we have a new number where you can call in and leave your stories. The number is 440-508-6567. We'll be playing some of your voicemails and calling some of you to be interviewed on the show.
Well, we don't want to call one person right now, right?
We could let's try him. Why not? Yeah, do you have it?
Yeah,
there you go.
Let's see which one. Okay, so this comes from a caller.
I want to know what I should do in this situation. So I have a younger sister. I'm 25. She's 15. And recently we did a 23andMe
first mistake.
Test, and we found out that she, from her father's side, is part Native American. And everybody was super excited for her, except for her. She seemed like kind of shocked at first and quiet. So nobody like really pressed on it, but my mom was super excited for her because she grew up thinking she had Native American blood, and then when she did her test, she didn't, so she was bummed out. So when she found out my sister had Native American blood, she was super excited for her and wanted to get her official paperwork and everything done.
Because you can get like government
my mom started
assistance.
that process on her behalf. And when my sister found out about that, she was actually really upset at my mom. And so she wouldn't talk to my mom about it, so I kind of asked her about it. I was like, hey, why don't you want to, and learn more about your culture or learn about scholarships or, use this as a chance to learn about, Native American culture? And she basically said, because she has been raised white all her life, she thinks it's actually racist for her to learn about her heritage and to explore it, and she doesn't even want to learn about it. It's the strange thing, but everybody in my family is encouraging her to use it for scholarships because we aren't really well off. We don't have a lot of money. So it would be a good opportunity for her to go to art school because that's something she's always wanted to do. But she just kind of shuts down the conversation anytime we talk about it. So I wanted to know, what should I do? Should I try to talk to her about it again? Would I be an asshole if I was pushing her to try to learn about a culture she doesn't want to learn about? So let me know, because I have no idea.
Wow.
Thanks. I love the show. Bye.
Great call-in.
Such a good call.
What a great call-in. Did we get her name?
Huh?
Did we get her name?
We didn't get a name. We have a number.
Are awesome.
Thank you for that. We could call her right now.
We could. Let's see.
But wait, but before we call her, like, what do you think?
I think that sometimes it could go like on the dial of like the woke dial, I guess you could say. You almost go too far. In the sense of like, I don't want to research it or learn about it. I do think that the point of the scholarships less so, because that to me is like, all right, it's really intended for someone who is a part of the Native
American community.
So that one definitely less. But as far as like learning about it and understanding it, and also there's the classic question: what percentage are we talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the freaking question.
Yeah,
but
I think that's what we should ask. We should ask what is the percentage?
What's the percentage?
Here, so should I call?
Let's do it. Let's rip it.
Dang. Should I call her on another thing? She's probably at work.
Probably at work.
Should I like text her?
Yeah, we can text her. But even wrapping it at like,
right there.
This is a voicemail, like, yeah.
We're going to try to call her and get a hold of her.
Let's try it.
But I'll text her and say, hey,
give it a second.
To wrap it up, I think it is up to the person whose heritage or blood it is to decide how they want to engage with that heritage and their past. So are you the asshole? Not for like, encouraging it. But if she's uncomfortable or doesn't want to, then it's like, it's up to her.
Just pushing someone in a direction they don't want to go is probably, you could say, from broad strokes. But as you can see, we got people calling in. Your voicemails have been amazing. So submit your stories. Might just get on the show, and we'll see you next time.